actually experienced a stable percept, either the horizontal grading or the vertical grading, not an alternation between them. And for those monks who did experience binocular rivalry, the rate at which the two percepts alternated slowed down. So either binocular rivalry was reduced or it was eliminated, and there was actually some carryover here even after the monks stopped meditating. So here's a very dramatic example, I think, of how meditation can affect automatic processing in various ways, de-automatize a very elementary feature of visual perception, binocular rivalry, but not all forms of meditation. One-point meditation has an effect on binocular rivalry, but compassion meditation doesn't. And again, what's really interesting about this is that the effects on binocular rivalry are as might be predicted by the different goals of the various meditative traditions. Just as in yoga, the yogis didn't show any alpha blocking in that one study, and the Zen monks didn't show any habituation in the other study, here we have different effects of different forms of meditation, compassion meditation versus one-point meditation on this binocular rivalry thing. So these are the kinds of experiments that we'd like to see done to try to see if practicing any form of meditation at all has the effect of de-automatizing perception, memory, and thought, and also determining which forms of meditation have these kinds of effects. Now, I talked earlier about the Stroop experiment. That's an obvious place to look, and in fact, it's the most common place where people have looked for these kinds of effects. Here's an early study of transcendental meditation by the late Skip Alexander, who's one of the dominant scientists in this area. These were elderly nursing home residents who were taught transcendental meditation, and Alexander and his colleagues were tested to see whether transcendental meditation would reduce the appearance of the Stroop effect. And what you can see here is there was some reduction, but it was not a significant effect statistically. So small samples, early study, whatever. In this case, meditation did not seem to eliminate the automaticity of reading. Here's a later study by Heidi Wank-Sormaz, who's a Yale PhD in cognitive psychology, who's now a very famous yoga teacher. This was her doctoral dissertation. And what you can see here is you're looking at response latencies in subjects who are meditating. And the meditation here was a strictly secular 15-minute baseline a breathing meditation exercise where the subjects were just taught for 15 minutes to focus on their breathing, and then she administered the Stroop test. These are the basic results here, and what you can see is that when subjects are meditating, before they meditate, you see a big Stroop effect here, big increase in response latencies when the color of the word is incongruent with the meaning of the word. And after meditating, you can see that Stroop interference has been reduced considerably. Not a complete abolition of Stroop interference, but at least some effect on Stroop interference. And there are a couple of other experiments by Wank-Sormaz that did that. Here's one more. This is by John Kabat-Zinn, who you'll remember introduced what he called mindfulness-based stress reduction as a technique for achieving cardiovascular health, basically reducing post-traumatic stress disorder and things like that. Kabat-Zinn also used the Stroop in one of his experiments, and let's go right to that. Okay, here is a study of mindfulness-based stress reduction, the effects on Stroop, and here we're just looking at the number of items that subjects complete. They're a little exposure to MBSR, again, produced a reduction in Stroop interference because subjects are completing more items and they're making fewer errors. It's a small difference, but it's a statistically significant one in this particular study. Again, one wouldn't want to go out and try to claim the Nobel Prize for showing that meditation really does de-automatize thought, but this is a sample of the kinds of experiments that can be done with meditation if you've got willing meditators and somebody who actually knows the attention literature can test this fundamental hypothesis about meditation, that by virtue of meditating, yogis, Zen masters, other meditators don't just achieve cardiovascular health, don't just achieve great muscle tone or whatever it is that you're looking for in your yoga studio, but also achieve a fundamental reorganization of thought so that habitual thought patterns are reduced in their impact, leading towards the kind of de-automatization of thought that the classic yogis and Zen masters thought they were trying to achieve. Okay, that's all for today. Next week, what we're going to do on Monday is we're going to return to the lectures on sleep and dreams, and we're going to talk mostly about dreams. And then on Wednesday, do something else that's different. Remember that there are no discussion sections next week during the Thanksgiving holiday, obviously, but just so you know, no discussion sections next week. Thank you very much. See you Monday. Have a good weekend.